Hello, everyone. Welcome to not one, but two different shows today for this podcast episode.
This isn't the first time we've done this, and they've been bangers.
I think people love it, but this is the first time we have done it not in person together, but in person with Video Matt.
Video Matt, who's key to the operation, all of our operations.
Yep.
And at your new house with your doggies. It's like win, 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 win.
That's right. And right now we are also looking at bartender Matt in the kitchen, making us Negronis.
It's honestly, we could sell this as a service.
I think so.
Bartender Matt's like, no.
So you get the community podcast, you get the Inspire and Move podcast, and we're going to talk about all these things that are really important to us, but how you can take what we are talking about today to grow your business in 2026.
Yeah, big time. I think what's been so cool this year is both of us have been coaches in the Mentor Collective Mastermind, Chris and Lori. Harder's Mastermind, we are so blessed to do that. We have so much fun in there with also bartender Matt, but he's Coach Matt.
Coach Matt, he's Mindset Matt.
Mindset Matt there. Program. Yeah. Tonight he's Chipotle Matt. You never know what you're going to get.
So many hats. There's so many hats.
He's going to kill me.
I wish the camera could span like super, super wide for those of you that watch this on YouTube or Instagram and like long form. But it's great. And that's what actually I'm really loving about the home studio vibes.
Yeah.
We've got dogs at our feet. We have Negronis on the way.
But actually, I actually think that speaks to a business concept, which like we did no planning before this. Like
no.
We just were like, we're going to jam out about this topic. But it speaks to a business concept, which is founder-led content is becoming the thing, right? Like it is becoming the thing for people to be in their living rooms, at events, having someone following them around, them doing like live. And like Lori and I think Chris, like they were kind of onto this a little early, right? Where they were going to events and right after they were doing debriefs, like these types of things. Like people want to be in the energy of what you're doing, which, you know, speaks to visibility, speaks to all the things we want to chat about. So it's kind of cool. You get to bring people behind the scenes to see what's kind of going on in your world. And people love that.
That's actually where, you know, Women Inspiring Women came from, was when on the topic of our dear friends, Chris and Lori, when I went to her initial investor dinner. Right. And this was before the pivot to Glow C, which I love, but when it was light pink and she had an investor dinner at one of their previous homes in Paradise Valley, Arizona. This was a couple of years ago, and I went to this dinner, and the concept of it, I was like, this is really beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder how I could recreate this, and wanting to take action on that, which is a big part of having a successful journey and growing your business, is taking the action, not just sitting with the intention. Matt and I just released a podcast on exactly that.
Yeah.
Intention is one thing, but taking the action is another. So got that inspiration, developed the intention, and then took the action to create this beautiful event in our previous home in the backyard, Women Inspiring Women.
R.I.P.
I for now, parked.
Park. I'm just telling you, you know who wants to revive Women Inspiring Women?
I do.
That isn't you. Who is it?
Victoria May.
Victoria. She actually was so funny. We just had our retreat last week for High Vibe Women, or 2 weeks ago, and she was there. She did the photo shoot. It was wonderful, and she was like, every time she brought it up, she said R.I.P. and like lowered her head, like in honor of it. Like it was a person. I was like, she could bring it back, but yeah, I love that, and I actually think that's such a beautiful thing too. Is like getting inspiration from the way other people are building community or building business, and then like really putting your own spin on it, right? Whether that be like, okay, you know, you and I go to events all the time and we're like, oh, I love that, or that's not for me, and being able to move that into our businesses is key.
Absolutely. And I think even reiterating it. So I don't think Women Inspiring Women is dead, but I mean, the property is, because we have moved. So it won't be there. But I actually think I want to go into the direction of something more intimate that has also come as a source of inspiration for things that I've been able to go to with some of these intimate dinners. And between, you know, what you have experienced with Create and Cultivate and the Supper Club and going to those intimate events, where that allows you to have, yes, a greater level of intimacy with building relationships, but also forming deep connections. Negronis incoming.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Oh, so great.
Video Matt delivered.
Video Matt delivers from bartender Matt. All right.
Cheers,
girlfriend.
Yay.
How fun is this?
So fun.
Fun fact, I have always wanted to record a podcast with cocktails.
Okay, here it is.
So here
it
is.
Who else would we do it with?
I know. And like, who better to have that moment that I get to share with than you?
Oh, I love you. Look, and we actually are celebrating your birthday. That's like very belated. Like, so belated. But we get to celebrate little business besties. And we met in a room where that was a small room where we like had a great time in one of Chris's round tables a few years ago, like 3 years ago.
2023.
Yeah, nuts.
I know.
And look how much like life we've lived together, how many like trips we've gone on, things we've done together.
You've had a baby.
I've had a baby. You've moved.
Yep. Got another dog.
Got no.
Nope, I had Riley at the time. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was like,
Fact check.
I was like, what?
Fact check.
We met Matt Millier.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
We've had a lot of things happen, and I think just kind of taking inspiration to kind of put a bow on that component of not necessarily always having to copy and say that, you know, someone's going to take inspiration from high vibe women and call it high vibe girls or high vibe ladies. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, totally.
But use that as inspiration to create something, if it is like all about pickleball or whatever your industry may be, and use it as inspiration for how you can be of service to your community and how you want to build community, how you want to grow your business, scale your offers, and just using it as that sort of stepping stone, that inspiration stone to see then, okay, how is this going to fit? And even with Women Inspiring Women, I think it's actually going to evolve in a really beautiful way to something that is a much smaller container, like I'd say at 12 to 20 women, that if it's something I'm going to sell, it probably will be higher ticket, but also hopefully like higher level of connections and conversations and collaborations. And I think that's something, I don't know about you, but I crave that as well.
Totally. Yeah. Something too, I think that's so interesting that you and I both believe that I know not everybody believes is this idea of like paying for access, for proximity, like that kind of thing. So it's interesting because I think sometimes even with high vibe women, people will be like our retreats, like people will be like, ooh, that's like kind of a hefty price tag. And I'm like, I'm going to spend 3 days with you. Like, you know, I'm going to pour into your business. Like, Maria's going to pour into your business. You know, we're going to give you gifts. You're paying for all your food. Like, you know.
I saw your last retreat. I was like, I'm sorry, these gifts are incredible. I feel like what did you say on your podcast with Lori Harder? It was like Uno reverse.
Yeah, Uno reverse.
I was like, I've never heard that. And I listened to that episode. And I was like, I have to use that when we podcast together. So I'm going to Uno reverse.
Yeah, give it.
And I remember when you came to one of my events, it was an event I did, a sweat and sip event at Porsche. Yeah. And you could not believe the amount of swag you got. And look at you now.
No, Alli, you are my muse. I tell you this all the time. I tell everybody this because so even like this idea of, you know, growing an events business or whatever it is that you're looking to grow, like there has to be a power in like an audacious ask, right? Like you have to be like, right? Like I think that's actually, I think a theme in growing your business in a way that feels like, you know, good and moves the needle. It's like you have to be okay to like ask for things in a way that I think is respectful. And, you know, you and I, we talk a lot about this, but I've said this before on the podcast, and yours is that I remember I went to your first Women Inspiring Women. I think we were just starting to get to know each other at this point. And I came and I was like, how did you get this Aperol Spritz cart? And you were like, I asked. And I was like, crazy. Like, that's crazy. Now I'm like, do you think I should contact Apple directly for a group of iPhones for these women? Like I'm unhinged, right? But I just know the power of my community, and I know that these women buy, and I want to serve them, and so yeah, the swag boxes were like kind of insane, which was like amazing. It was so cool to do. But I just think that that's such a big piece of it is just being like willing to ask, and then also I think like in terms of what we were just talking about, this idea of proximity, like. Find people who are in your like niche or who you want to learn from or who you want to grow from and pay for access to being close to them. Like whether that's joining their mastermind, whether that's going to something they're putting on, supporting them. And even if you can't pay, download their podcast,
buy their book,
post it in their stories. You know, I think that that's something people don't really realize. Like they're looking for a lot of opportunities without putting in any of the legwork. And sometimes the legwork is, you know, I don't say everything's pay to play, but like sometimes it is paying, but sometimes it's also just showing up and supporting.
Oh my gosh. And I was saying this to Matt earlier in a conversation when it came to, you know, taking action and how there's actually a lot of great opportunities for us to bring analogies between entrepreneurship and running a business, but also the world of fitness and working out.
I use those as well.
I know. I love when you do. Or sports analogies. Those are my two favorites. But for someone who was like, hey, I want a six-pack. You don't just get a six-pack.
Yeah.
That comes down to your diet and your water and your sleep and your stress and your nutrition. It's the same as diet. And then absolutely the exercises that you do to physically exert yourself that all work together to help you have abs.
Yes.
It's not just something that's going to happen. So same thing with like, oh my God, I want to be on the Earn Your Happy podcast. It's a top 25 podcast, top 20 podcast. Well, does that host even know who you are?
No, and I remember, so I was on Laura's podcast last March for the first time.
Yeah,
and
multiple times. Let's just for the hype friend over here. I'm just going to specify that it has been more than one occasion.
Oh, you're the sweetest. Well, and I just remember like Lori texted me being like, "Hey, I'm like recording, like wondering if you want to be on the podcast." And I was like, "Me? Like, what would I have to talk about? What would I have to offer?"
Lots.
But like, I could fill up some space, but I have a lot of words. But what I was gonna say is that like that didn't come from one time Lori and I met at an event. You know, like that came from I was in the original cohort of Fast Foundations. I shared their podcast a ton. I did the roundtable. I was in the Elite Mastermind. Like I coach now in MCM. Like I've done a lot of like serving, and I think and they have. I always say I'm like Lori and Chris gave me my MBA. Like so much everything I like how I show up, like how generosity is like my spirit. Like so much that I learned from them. But I've paid to be in all those rooms, you know. And now like being an MCM coach, I'm so honored, and like growing a friendship with Chris and Lori similarly, like it's such an amazing thing. But you got to go first, and that doesn't mean like necessarily always paying. But I just think it's like who in your world inspires you, and how do you get into their world? And sometimes it looks different than I think people think it is. But people often think it's like DMing nonstop or coffee chat or Zoom chat. But the more high level people are, in my experience, the less the Zoom chat is happening.
Oh my gosh. And like their time is so protected.
Yeah.
So don't just assume that like, oh, can you get on? Like those meetings, when they have meetings, might actually be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if you're like Gary Vaynerchuk has 15-minute meetings, maybe even 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Where it's not, oh my gosh, how's the family? How's your weekend?
Yeah,
it's like, what are we talking about? Do we need to make a decision? Boom, done. Next meeting.
Well, one of my business hacks this year, and I think this has been like definitely one of the things I've had to learn in the season I'm in, like being a new mom. And I don't have childcare, so it's like, you know, me and my husband were like rotating, carrying this little ginger child everywhere. I'm obsessed, but it just is what it is at this point. Is that sometimes I'm holding him, sometimes Josh is holding him, and like love him so much. But one of the things that's so like, you know, I have been just really honest about I'm not in that kind of season. I don't have capacity to do this thing. And, oh, we're on a meeting and this is going nowhere. Thank you so much for meeting. Feel free to connect again, like via email if you need something. Like I don't spend time on the phone with people who I don't think there's somewhere it's going. Not that I don't think someone's valuable. Not that I don't like it. It doesn't matter stage of business. Like I'm always so happy to serve. But I used to feel this pressure. So like people would reach out being like, I'd love to do a coffee chat with you. And I'd be like, okay. And then now I'm in a season where I'm like, I literally have 4 hours of workday every day. So how am I going to spend it? Am I going to spend it having coffee chats with everybody? No. And so I need to do revenue driving activities. That's what these things look like. So it's really, I think, sometimes it's seasonality of business, but I think, you know, the more your business grows, the more you just have to be intentional about how you're spending your time.
But you've also put out some content recently sharing this authentically, that you have had to change how you show up in your business and what your work days look like from a, let's call it an hour standpoint and your schedule. But have you not, I guess more so last year for 2025, since we're early on in 2026, that you actually grew your business substantially, even though you took such a large step back?
And I was dead inside. Like I was,
you're tired. You're just probably a hungry season. You're growing a human. Then you had a human.
Yeah, I just like every time anyone saw me, I was like, I wish I was asleep. I know, like the whole time I was pregnant. And then the minute I gave birth, I was like, oh, I'm a regular human again. Honestly, we had our highest revenue year ever last year.
Congratulations!
Thank you, which was amazing. But it's one of those things that I've been planting seeds for that for years. So it's like I didn't do anything in particular, but 2 years ago I had a huge investment year where like we went everywhere. I did everything. I was like, you know, Dora the Explorer with my little haze backpack, inspired by you. Shout out to the little gray haze backpack. Alli will put the Amazon link in the show notes. But
I think the color is actually called Atmosphere.
I literally
got puffer collection.
I got the exact same one as you. She was
so
like,
cute.
She bought it, and I was like, I think they may have gifted it to you.
Yep.
No, I purchased mine. I bought it with cash. But what I will say, it's like, you know, as a not even as a mom, but like it's really like any type of experience you're having, like it's different seasons, right? Like even for you had a season where you were personal training AF, like you were training literally everybody, and then you were also managing your gym, like doing all the stuff. You're doing coaching, you're doing all of these pieces, and you're growing your like fitness is super important, and you're growing your like personal brand, and you're not gonna have time for 100 connection calls. And I think sometimes early on in business, so those of you who are listening, like early on in business, I had a ton of time. So I was meeting with everybody. I just was putting out feelers. I was learning. Your time changes as your business grows. And I think, you know, so this is what I'm going to say, a business hack is like not being afraid to tell people what your priorities are. And like,
Yes.
and unfortunately, I do use my child as a shield. And like, but it is true. Like, I wish I could talk to everybody. I'm just not in a season where that's possible. And I know you have your own thing. You just don't have a child to use, but you can use.
I'll use yours.
Yeah, you can.
Perfect.
Yeah, feel free.
I will.
Yeah, he's cute. So
He is cute.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Matt and I would walk around with him and people would be like, interesting. We got a dark brown, we got a blonde, and how cute. Interesting.
The redhead. People always ask, they're like, how did he get red hair? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't brew him like a baking mix.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure.
It's like a little Rubik's Cube for you to try to figure out.
Yeah. I wasn't like whisking him in the back anyway. But what would you say, Alli, for you? Like, you know, you've grown your visibility tons over these past few years. And like, I have seen you, I have to tell you guys who are listening to this on our podcast, like, Alli and I feel like we're on the come up in a lot of ways together. We're learning so much from each other all the time. Like every time we see each other, it's like an 8-hour hangout.
Never long enough.
Yeah,
Pretty soon we're gonna have just share a home.
I got here at 6 tonight. And I'm like, oh God, I'm not gonna get back to my hotel till like 2 a.m. I'm never gonna be that free. But like, you know, you're on the come up. You're doing the things. You've grown your personal brand a ton. You do so much. Like paid partnership work, which has been so impressive. And again, so much of what I've learned, because mine has been more event sponsorship. Like that's really where I've leaned, but you've done a lot more on the social side. What would you say if someone's listening to this and they're, you know, trying to grow their business in 2026, what would you encourage them to lean into?
I think first figuring out like who it is that you want to serve. Like what is your core message? And I think focusing on that, and I absolutely believe that you can be multi-passionate.
Yeah.
But is there a way that you can have them all connect together? So even the fact that I get to host a podcast that is all about business and entrepreneurship, but so much of that I actually can relate to fitness, which is the fact that, okay, Matt and I own a brick and mortar gym.
Yeah.
And I see the correlation between what happens there and what can happen in business, but still wanting to build this personal brand that coexists with podcasts and events and collaborations. Although and now that I have been on a growth journey, let's call it for about 3 years, I really use that, you know, roundtable where we met in March of 2023 as the benchmark, if you will, of like the growth trajectory.
Yeah.
It also came at a time where we came out of the multi extensions of closures during the pandemic, where we really got to like hit the ground running and run our business and bring in revenue.
Yeah.
So 2023 was actually quite a big pivotal year for us in a great way. I mean, lots of rebuilding, but very exciting. And I think since then I've been on this really big growth journey. And even just 2026, I had a DM come in from a lovely like family owned business. I have had a meeting with them in the past about doing some work together. And I said to Matt, I was like, I think I need to think about what I want to say, but it just doesn't feel aligned right now because I have so many things that I'm focusing on that are big and exciting that I don't want to be distracted by something else, which maybe some of you are listening or watching this and you're like, that's mean. But it's direct.
No, 100%. The distraction piece is huge. And actually, I was talking to somebody who yesterday at an event that you and I both know, who's like running an 8-figure business. She's done a massive raise.
Like, I can't wait for the offline details on this.
Yeah, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about when I tell you. But like, she's amazing, like absolutely amazing. And her and I were chatting, and I was like, "Why don't you do this in your business?" She's like, "A distraction." She's like, "That doesn't make me money." She's like, "It's a cute community play." But like I have really massive goals in the next 3 years. So like, is doing that going to be worth my time? And I was like, wow. And it made me think like, what are the things I'm doing in my business that are distractions? Like, what are the things I'm doing that are like, you know, and I'm even seeing some of our offers, like with High Vibe Women, like just being more honest about like, oh, like this actually really like makes a difference for people, but isn't super profitable. So what can we do to keep the energy around it, but make it more profitable? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, everything's a business. We love to serve women. It's such a like a beauty, like a beautiful opportunity. So what I would say is like, what are these things that are distractions, and like also like not saying yes to everything. I think early on there's a season where yes becomes like, it's good.
Oh, I think it's so important.
Yes. You need to do the things.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes. Well, you need to try things. That's also a piece of it too, is that like, I laugh because we've tried PR like 100 times, and I've always been like, oh, PR, like media is dead. Like guys, media is dead. And then we hired like a PR coach, and we did one session with her, and we got 2 placements yesterday. In one session. I did 1 round of pitches, and in 24 hours I had 2 placements. Crazy, right? Like, but it wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the time. And I think it's like really when we're saying yes and you know, doing things, like there is a timing element of it where it's like, when is the right time for us to be moving the needle on something? Sometimes when we want to do something, it's a not yet. Or you're not ready to actually receive that yet.
Yep.
I see this a lot with, I don't know, Alli, you've probably experienced this in your own way, but I see this a lot with stages. People think no matter what stage of business they are, they should be speaking. And one of my mentors, Aaron Spivak from Hush Blankets, he's like, you earn that. You earn the mic.
I don't think, like for myself, I don't think I'd be ready to do a keynote. I think I'd crush it on a panel.
Yeah.
Or hosting a panel. I don't think I'm keynote ready.
Yeah.
I haven't put the reps in. And using something like your social media platform, having a podcast, those are great training stages.
Yeah.
But I also have to figure out, like, do I want that? Because I've been off and on. Like, do I want to be a keynote speaker? Yeah, I think I do. Fuck yeah, I do. And then other times I'm like, no, actually, I don't know if that's important to me.
Yes.
But I'd love to be on a panel, something like that.
Yeah.
Or the opportunities I've had at High Vibe Women, just leading a movement break or kind of weaving in movement with some mindset. I loved that.
Yeah, you did such a great job.
But I don't know if I need a 45-minute keynote spot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also about knowing your place in business and what's going to make the most return and most value for you. So like I think the distraction piece is huge. But I think something you and I have also both leaned into in terms of visibility is like network. And I think like there is nothing wrong with attending. Actually, there's nothing wrong with attending events. You should attend events as an attendee.
Yeah.
I still attend a ton of events. You attend a ton of events.
It's so important.
Yeah. Lori attends a ton of events. Lots of my high level friends. Like no, like it's not only about speaking. What would you say to someone right now who's having like a block on like where they should be showing up?
I think, again, it comes back to your core message because that could be different. If someone is, say, a operations consultant, they'd probably thrive on a LinkedIn, which for someone like myself, owning a gym that wants to grow our client base with new members and new personal training clients, though those people probably are on LinkedIn because I want professionals, that's not the number one platform that I would go spend time on or invest ad dollars in. It'd be more the people that consume content online, so Instagram, TikTok, and we actually just have gotten into Google ads, which has been fun to play with. But then I think—
You personally are doing Google ads?
I personally,
Wow.
LOL.
We're always learning.
Always learning. But for someone who maybe is wanting to host events or they want to be a business coach, then you probably want to show up in person at other events. Whether you want to host your own events and you're going to get inspiration, you're going to see like, oh, that actually would be a great vendor. And if they're a small business, maybe they'd want to be at another event and pay my vendor fee. Because that is for something like some of the brands that we've both worked with, they don't have a store. They have e-com. So to be able to have people to, I'm going to give Koa Unkind a shout out. I love their candle.
Oh
we
my
have
gosh,
one burning
I love
right
her.
now that she's been at my events. She's been at your events. They don't have a brick and mortar physical boutique. Yes, you can find them in some stores, but you can also shop online. But then for people to be able to touch and smell the candles and have that interaction with it, what a great opportunity.
Okay, we have to give Karen a big shout out because, I love the Karen. You brought the Karen into my life. I did bring you the Matt Millier. So it's like
we're equal. Okay.
But I will say Karen has the best mindset. Like she has such an amazing mindset. So she came to our brunch last week and she posted this awesome reel. I don't know if you saw it. It was so sweet. But I went up to her and I hadn't seen her in a while and we were like laughing. And I always, as an event host, I take it personally if I haven't seen someone in a while because I'm like, you have a bad time? Like, what's the scoop?
Yeah.
So which is my own self-work because most of the time people are like, no, like I've been busy. And I'm like, yeah, fair. And like the reason I don't go to some people's events isn't because I have anything on them. So I have to move on. So I see Karen and I'm like, okay, like, how'd it go? Like being a vendor at High Vibe Women. And she was like, yeah, it was really good. And I was like, how were your sales day of? Were they what you expected? She said, yes. And I was nervous because I was like, I hadn't seen you in a while. And I was nervous that maybe you didn't do as well as I thought or whatever. And she was like, no, I did well. But she's like, but the thing is in those moments, what you're doing is you're actually just planting seeds for the future. And like, we don't need to make that back today. And she's like, but like, here are these opportunities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have come from High Vibe Women since. Right. And so it's about planting those seeds as well. And that mindset, you have to have that mindset that like the things you're working on is you're just planting seeds for.
Oh my gosh. I've had this conversation from some of my partners, like my Dramatics D2 team. I love them. And I'm so grateful and excited for that partnership. They have the best mindset knowing that, we'd love to come to this event and then we'll come to the next one. And people need like 7 exposures. Now I think people are up like more than 10.
Yeah.
And it also depends on your offer price. So if you have a $30 candle, you probably need less exposures than a pack of medical grade facials or one-on-one business coaching that could be $5,000 plus dollars.
Yes, totally.
People will need more exposure and understanding you more. And I think that one thing and we can dive into this, and I'd love your perspective on this too, of how you show up online from a visibility standpoint.
Yeah.
But also how you show up in person. And I think if you are someone that has the ability to do both, that is going to accelerate your growth so much this year.
But it's not just showing up in person going.
No, it's being there with like getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Wear an outfit that you feel fire in.
Yes.
I always love like a bold lipstick. It makes me kind of come alive in a different way to be in an event room. And showing up with great energy so that you radiate and people are attracted to you to be like, who is that Kristina? I need to meet her.
Yeah. And Alli, you do such a good, like, great job with this.
So
right?
do you.
Like, yeah, I think you and I both, like, we see the value
Haven't seen hot pink lipstick on you yet, so that's like maybe my only note.
It's not my thing. I think because of my like skin tone, but it looks great on you, and I think you should continue to rock it. We each have our own things, you know. You're a little more fierce than I am. I'm a little more subdued. But what I will say is, I think you and I just did a podcast about this as well. I don't know when it'll come out, but like, I remember Chris one time said to me, like, he's like, you have been in rooms like you don't belong being in because of your enthusiasm.
Ooh, I love the honesty.
Right? But he was like, just like, you show up. Like, you show up and you, like, you have these relationships with all these people. And, like, he's like, because you're enthusiastic and, like, I serve people and you serve people. And I think that that's the difference. So it's like, you know, I think people can look at people who are farther ahead in business. I had someone say to me, I didn't introduce you to this person because I thought they'd be more of a take for you than a give. Like, and I was like, oh, that's fine because they might take a withdrawal from me and I might be able to make a deposit to them, but I'm going to withdraw for somebody else at some point. And I want to be karmically good on that. But I think it's just when you're thinking about joining these rooms and like going places, it's like really easy, like to be like, I bought the ticket, but I'm not going to show up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sit in the back. I'm not going to talk to the vendors. I'm actually guilty of that sometimes too. If I don't have like a really solid buddy, I can be that person. I can be that like, okay, I'm watching. I'm a little too cool for school, like, because I'm a little nervous. But when I'm like actually in an environment where I feel really comfortable and I maybe have a friend that I've brought with me that like I feel really like great with or whatever, I show up 100%. I serve in any way I can to anybody. I like post a ton. I do anything that I can. And I think that's the attitude you need to have if you want to be growing your community.
And I think that that's even a hack for any of you listening, that if you're listening to this, you're like, I can't go to an event by myself, then don't. Recruit someone to go with you.
Yeah.
And make it a fun girls' day. Like maybe you get a blowout so you feel amazing and you photograph or you video that, you share that, you document the day, do a fit check video. I mean, these are platforms for creating content, and especially so many of these events now, like Create and Cultivate, High Vibe Women, some of the events that we've been at, that Powerhouse Women, we've been there together, and I'm going back again in August. Amazing. That these are events that have spent the time, energy, and money to create great activations for their community and attendees.
Yes.
So use them.
Oh my gosh, yeah, guys, if you're ever at a High Vibe Women event, I think this will probably come out after our March 7th event, but like...
Use the 360 booth.
Oh, the 360 booth we're retiring actually on March 7th. I know, but like anybody can use it at any point, so like feel free, we rent it, but... I want
it on my front lawn.
Little plug. I'll give a discount. But like we have our wine wall, and we have like this year we'll have a step and repeat, and like we actually really intentionally were like, what are people gonna take photos of?
Yeah.
And not from a like vanity, like we want people to be like dagging High Vibe Women, like look how good we are. But I actually like, we sit down and we talk about like what's going to get people posting and excited. And so like they're making good content.
Well, it's coming of a place of service.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is what that is a like core message in this entire conversation about how to grow your business, from visibility and getting in rooms and providing value. It's being of service. So you, Maria, and the team are being of service to your High Vibe Women community that are taking a full day to come and be at the event, investing in the ticket, investing their energy in the day. You're making it easier for them.
Okay, let's talk about being of service for a second. And this took a different turn than we thought it would, which I'm so glad we didn't come up with like topics that we were like, oh my God, we're going to talk about this, because this always happens to us. What do you think? Because you went through an era of being a gremlin. Because you were too of service. And then a little resentful.
Yeah.
What did you call it? There was an era.
Well, I retired from referrals.
Yes.
Yeah. I got really freaking tired.
Yes.
And I was going to substitute that for a different word.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt. You can
say the F word.
Yeah, I got really fucking tired of making it.
Sorry,
they weren't feeling good anymore.
Yeah.
And that's actually where it comes down to, was the emotion of like, you know what, this actually doesn't feel good.
So what do you think about that? Because the reason I ask this is because this is a conversation I've had with people lately about like giving. And there was somebody in my world, they're going to listen to this and they're going to know exactly what they are. They're going to send me a note about it. But like, but there is this concept, right, where it's like you overgive and then you do things for free and you get burned. And you're not happy about it. And so it was funny because this person and I, we did an exchange and they did a lot of negotiating. And I even said to them, I was like, this is a lot more negotiating than I'm used to. Like, because usually people, when being involved in a specific thing, are usually like elated to do it for free. Mm-hmm. I understand you're going to charge and give a discount, but like, I'm trying to figure out like kind of the line here. And afterwards, she was like, you and Alli, she actually said, you and Alli are like the two people like I'm comfortable doing things for free because there is such a like a return, a reciprocity. And I had just done so many things where there was nothing reciprocal. You know who I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, and she's great. We love her. So it's like, I'm curious for you. Obviously, you were in that stage as well. Like, what led you to that point?
It lasted a while. I think it was like at least 6 months.
Oh, I thought it was short. I felt like you came up
3
quick.
months? It just felt like 6 months? Maybe 1 month?
I think because you are so high vibe that when you're low vibe, it's like it permeates.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I don't enjoy it. Takes me out of my game.
Yeah, it takes you out of your... You and Matt are, like, you guys are high vibe.
Yeah, but if something bothers us, you saw a version of that a couple months ago where I was like, we're at a low point.
Yeah.
We're at a low point. We were talking about wanting to make another investment in just a new room to be in for networking, a completely different community. I was like, can't, sorry, I'm in a negative space right now and I don't want to talk about it anymore. So let's talk about something else.
Yeah, totally.
But I totally remember that. And it's funny, I was listening to your most recent episode, since there's multiples of them of you on the Top 20 Earn Your Happy podcast with Lori Harder. That one. And you were talking about this for a quick moment in the conversation, effectively about that, of providing value and connections. And it made me go right back to that moment. I was like, God, I was such a gremlin. And I remember specifically talking to Kristina about it, of how I was like, yeah, I'm done. No more. And it came to the root of the feeling. And I think kind of going back to, again, what is your core feelings of who you're going to help and serve? Mine wasn't feeling good. Yeah. Because it was kind of feeling like I was getting taken advantage of, but also I was like, not that you do those things to immediately have a return, but often you are rewarded with something.
100%.
And I was like, I'm not seeing the high vibe return of anything. Yeah. And the outcome that I'm also experienced by making these connections and referrals was not good. Yeah. And there are some things, and I just had like a shit storm come my way with some things. I was like, I'm over this. I'm hanging my hat. The hat is back on, so I'm back on with team referrals.
Yeah, we got to bring it back.
And I do get a bit of an adrenaline rush when I make a great connection. It makes me feel really, really good.
My favorite is sometimes you make connections, and I'm like, oh, I don't actually need that, but you because you're so, again, encouraging. And like you sent me a message the other day, and you were like, I have this organized for you if you want. And I was like, no, I already have that organized. But like, it's like you're just trying to help this person out, which is so sweet.
It's a toxic trait.
But I think it's interesting because I think for someone listening to this, maybe they're experiencing that too. And I've been in that season too, where I've given like a particular businesses, people, a ton of referrals and maybe never received one back, or know that they might give referrals to other people or whatever. And it is a business at the end of the day. And I'm curious what your thought is on this, because like, I don't know, I've actually never talked about this on a podcast, but what are your thoughts on referral fees?
It's interesting that you say this, because we have a good friend. He's in the finance industry. Yeah. And referral fees, like that is how it works. It is, I don't know, 20% or whatever it is. Matt still does some consulting work in the Porsche world. Yeah. And depending on sort of what that looks like, there's a referral fee. Yeah. I think that that's great. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get a referral fee or expect a referral fee for like a $75 blowout. Yeah. But maybe you just send me a blow dry. Yeah. Or something like that. Like maybe it can be a service. I just saw this actually with our dear friend and realtor, Sarah Donnelly, and another friend who's in a completely different, she's in like the Guelph Alora area. Another friend of mine that referred a client to Sarah who wanted to be in the Burlington area. And like I saw the one post one day, and then the next day it was the other realtor, my friend Holly, posting the gratitude for a beautiful gift basket that Sarah sent as a thank you for the referral. Yeah. And I think things like that are not necessarily like, here's $1,000, but I think something that is like really thoughtfully curated. Yeah. And I think that feels really good. Again, coming from someone that has gone through a season of like, no more referrals, I'm a gremlin. Having those, like even a handwritten note, love that. Yeah. Just where you're thinking about like, I am so grateful to have this. And so then the person can even maybe think, depending on how well they know you, do they know like your favorite bottle of wine or something that you would love, a Laura Mill or whatever it may be, something that they would know that you appreciate, and they're going to go out of their way because they have made hopefully a good amount of money, maybe an amazing amount of money off of it, And if it's something that it's like repeat, so if it's a realtor, are they going to have a great experience? And then they're going to refer you, and then you're going to sell this house and then this person's grandfather's house. I think that's great. It's like going to someone's home empty-handed.
Yeah.
And I see that sometimes. I was like, you didn't want to bring just like even like a pack of napkins or like a bottle of wine, a bottle of olive oil, like something that you could spend $20 on.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be big.
The thought of it is going to go a longer way.
Yeah, totally.
But I think sometimes depending on the relationship too.
Yeah.
You know, I love referring clients to the social snippet because I know they're going to get amazing service.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it's for social media.
And anyone who exercises near Burlington.
I'm your girl.
I made a referral last week. I hope it worked out. But she literally was like, I like to work out and I think I'm moving to Burlington. And I was like, say no more. She was like, I'm looking for a friend. I was like, it's done. I just found you 200 friends. I just found you the best community ever. I love what you're saying. Like, Alli,
how do you feel about that? Because you do a lot of referrals as well.
Lots of referrals. It's such a tough thing. And I actually, guys, like a little inside scoop. That was one of the things I coached on with Chris when I was in the Elite. Because I was like, Chris, like there are people I've given hundreds of thousands of dollars of referrals to. Like, and I don't get much back. And I think they maybe don't come across as many people as I do. I also pay a ton to network. So it's like, is that like, my way of, getting some of this money back is like, because there was a year we spent $130,000 in events and masterminds. Mm-hmm. And so is my referral fee how I'm going to recoup some of that cash? And basically like where we kind of landed, because we did the math on it and all that stuff. And then I was just kind of like, it doesn't feel good for me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel good for me to take referral fees. I'll get a little gifty. Like Kelsey Rydell sent me a gift recently because I sent her a coaching client who wasn't a fit for me. And like, like that kind of stuff happens and that's really great. But I don't need the referral. I don't need the instant gratification, but I do keep tabs on like, when there's people out there who make a ton of referrals for me, I'm looking for clients for them.
Oh, yeah. I think I told you about someone who I had given a referral to, and they brought me a bouquet of flowers, which already I was like, oh, my God, that's so nice. And then there was a $500 Lululemon gift card in there. That happened a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, you are high on my referral list. Yeah. And I will go to bat for you to get you some more clients.
And even, you're not even thinking like, oh my God, I hope I get a Lululemon gift card every time. You're like still like just grateful for like the original. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm the same. And so we've done it a lot of different ways in growing our business, like because we're so referral heavy that like I've done things like, there was you had given me some wonderful referrals. And then we went to California and I was like, oh, I'll pay for like our podcast recording space.
Love
and like,
it.
like stuff like that, where it's like that easy stuff you can do for people. But I just think like, guys, if you're in a season where you're giving a lot of referrals and you're feeling like they're not coming back too, like actually also making your offers known to people. Mm-hmm. This is where I think actually, or what kind of referrals you're looking for. This is a mistake we've made, is that like social snippet, people think social. Mm. And I think still people aren't really connecting the dots on High Vibe Women for us for some reason. But I'll be like, oh, does anybody know this person? And people are like, yeah, like, do you want me to intro you? And I'm like, yes, I wanted that 6 months ago. Where were you? Like, kind of thing. Or like podcasting. Like, people will be like, do you know a podcast editor? Like,
hi.
Yeah,
us.
Right? So now I actually send out like a newsletter to all my referral partners to be like, hey, this is the situation. There's a few people who I do pay, like where it's like they get a bonus, like if they bring in a new client for us I wouldn't otherwise have. But it's a tough one for sure. I think when you're in the spirit of service, I think energetically it shifts a little bit if you know you're going to get something out of it.
Yeah, because you don't want to operate from a cash forward place where people are smart, especially this day and age. They are smart to be able to know of like, this feels sleazy or salesy. Yeah. And I mean, sales is not bad. Sales is actually wonderful because that's how we all make revenue and run our business and grow our business. But the energy and the tone and the conversation, the words chosen, those all matter of how you're going to have that conversation and make the referral.
Yeah, totally.
How do you feel on that note of making referrals or even just making connections? How do you feel there's an art of that, especially if you have someone who, like yourself, you have invested tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I was like tens, that doesn't work. Hundreds of thousands of dollars on being in rooms, networking, and growing your network, and being able to have Marina Middleton be an amazing speaker at High Vibe Women, have Lori Harder be a guest speaker inside the High Vibe Women community. Yeah. How do you feel when people want to come to you and ask for referrals or connections to people that you have spent a lot of time and money to build a relationship with.
Yeah, I'm really careful. And I'll be honest, I think you and I kind of, we actually just chatted about this right beforehand about this, where I was like, somebody keeps making referrals for me, and then I don't think that they're checking with the other person, and then I'm like, it kind of falls flat. I am protective of my network, and I always ask, hey, unless I think it's a mutually beneficial thing where I know it's on their goal list. But like, even for example, like Lori just did a collaboration with our friend Jeanette, who does the chill space. So she did a Super Bowl thing. Cool. I know that that's a completely different market for Lori. Lori had mentioned to me that's something she wanted to grow into. That was a no-brainer connection. Before I made it, I like voiced a note to Lori, and I was like, before I put you in this email chain, are you okay with this?
Yes.
Like, and I was like, and if you're not, I don't care. Like, it's like all good. Like, I want to support my friend Jeanette, of course. It was a slam dunk for both of them. It was a perfect fit.
Oh, good one. Touchdown?
Yeah, touchdown. Slam dunk was,
Go sports.
Yeah, sports. But I think, like, I'm really protective. Or, like, I've had people, I actually had somebody one time interview me for their podcast, and at the end of it, they go, I see you were on it and you're happy. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, would you put me in a chain with Lori? And I was like, no, I won't do it. But it's not even just Lori. I've had this with Marina. Jacqueline's another one, like, or Jacqueline Johnson. Like, she is very protective over her time, as she should be. And she's like, so generous with her time. And I know if I asked, it could happen. Like, where if I was like, oh my goodness, like, I have a friend who's dying to meet you, or like whatever. But I'm like, hey, she sells coaching calls on Intro. Buy one. Get in her world. Invest.
Yes.
Like,
and that goes back to where we were, like, let's call it 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That is the best way to take a shortcut and build your network is invest.
Yeah.
That's what we did. That's how, like, you look at the coaches that I have in the Visibility Accelerator.
Yep, totally.
That has come from years and dollars of investing time and money in being in their worlds, being in their rooms, and nurturing that relationship.
And it's not investing one time and then asking.
No.
That's something I've seen too, especially with Have Vibe Women. Like I have been so blessed with so many amazing speakers. Like, I have no shortage of people interested in speakers, and I have no shortage of network of people I can ask. And so it's like, you know, I've been in high level rooms. I have 8-figure entrepreneur friends. Like, it's like, there's just so many good things happening, and I really want expansive women to be there. Like, there's never a shortage for Maria and I. And like, I'm careful, right? Like, with like, when I ask, I'm like, you know, I'll go and I'll say, hey, here's what the ask is. I'd love to pay for your flight. I would love to make this a slam dunk for you. How is this easy for you? What are you selling right now? Like, what can I do? Like, I just met somebody who I'm going to have to intro you to, who's amazing. Selena Sue. I don't know if you've ever heard of her.
Were you just on her podcast?
No. So she's on a podcast, but she has this best-selling, like LA Times best-selling book called Rich Relationships. And I literally was like, oh, you beat me writing this book. Perfect. But
Great. Love that for you.
But she's so cool. And her and I, there's a great connection. And I, like, you know, we're chatting, and she has a huge audience, a massive network. She has a very like private group of people who meet. And someone said to me, they're like, oh, you're going to have to get, like, you know, you get an invite into this. And I was like, amazing. Like, you know, this networking call, that's fine. I didn't go into it with any expectation. Like, I wasn't like, oh, if I do this and I pull this lever, like, you know, like, I was like, whatever. So I asked her, I'm like, what is, so firstly, I knew someone who knew her. And I said, hey, Selena's been coming up a lot for me in my world lately. Like, do you think that there's a fit there for us to connect? My friend Lyric was like, yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot of alignment. Can I put you guys in a text chain? Totally. We got into a chain. We get in the call. I ask her, I'm like, what are you working on right now that I can amplify?
Love that.
She's like, I really want to get, and guys, go download Selena's book, Rich Relationships. You can buy it on Amazon for like $1. Like, yeah, it's amazing. And she sent me a copy of her book, like, so nice. And so we had this conversation. She's like, I really want to like teach in some groups. I don't really want to do like too much in-person stuff right now, and I'm not doing any podcasts, but I'm wondering, like, do you have a group I can teach in? And I'm like, I do. She's like, I'd love to do it by this date. Is that possible? I made it happen. She invited me into her networking group, right? Like, that wasn't my reason. I was like, I just want to be of service to you. So I think, like, if you meet people in your life who you're like, I have nothing to give them, ask them.
Yeah.
What are you looking for right now? How can I be helpful? And you have no idea how you're going to be able to be helpful. And I know, Alli, that's like the same for you. I'm curious, Uno Reverse, like, you know, you also have done a ton of like investing, and you have an amazing network. So curious for you, how do you keep those boundaries up?
I think also protecting people's time.
Yeah.
And knowing that, and I think also knowing the personality traits of the person on the other end, to know that I feel pretty confident for me and you that you would trust me to make a connection, where I'm like, I actually feel confident I can put these two people on a text thread right now, but I'm going to send a voice note so that they can see, like, hear and feel my energy in this connection.
I always have a little heart attack though, because Alli will put me in a voice note with like her and then a random number, and I'm like, who is this? What's happening here? It's always
Yeah,
funny.
so room for improvement for me on there. But then there would be others that I was like, I wouldn't dream of doing that I would ask, like, does this feel aligned? I love the word aligned because I think alignment is so important for, what we do, what we put out there for content, the relationships we keep, and then the connections that you maybe make to understand, like, could I be of service to this person? Does this feel like a win? This person I'm actually going to ask first.
Yeah.
Get their blessing and then make the connection.
And that's not about audience size. Like we use Lori as an example, but like I have friends who have 1,000 followers who who have smaller businesses than mine, who I'm like, I know you're in a season where you're not taking intros. Mm-hmm. Or like, I know right now this might not be that helpful to you. Or like I have somebody who in my life who's like, right now they're in like a no networking zone because they're head down. If somebody asked me for an intro to them, I would say no. Like
they're head down.
They're head down. And like, even for me in motherhood, I had to tell people in my network, like, don't introduce me to people. Like, unless they need immediate help with their social media or podcasting, I can't make any new friends. Like, I don't have capacity. I'm barely responding to text messages. So I was like, I don't want to meet people in this season.
Yeah.
And like, I would go and like, even podcasts right before I gave birth, I had like probably 4 months where I was like, nope, I'm so sorry. I can't come on podcasts. Because I'm dead inside. Like, I don't want to do this, right? So I think being respectful of those seasons, and I think, like, guys, if you're listening to this and relationships are key for you, and like building, like, just knowing, like, asking people what their goals are and working tirelessly to help make them happen for people is going to put you in the good books.
Well, I love the saying, like, high tides raise all boats.
Yeah, I always fuck that one up. I'm always like, ships are high in the water and other
Dolphins.
people. Yes, yeah. I'm like, I can never do it.
But I think thinking about that and not coming from a place of being selfish, but being a place of service, collaboration, being in community. So as we wrap up this episode, let's do like a couple like rapid fire takeaways of what it is that people can do to grow their business.
Yeah. Okay, in this vein, I would say if you are in an early season, meet someone new. Mm-hmm. Meet someone new and ask how you can help them, and remain open-minded in your mindset that, like, even if you've never made a sale, there's probably something you can do for them.
And I'd go with find someone that you want to be in their world, and especially if you don't know them, just start listening to their podcasts, share it on social, include the link, make it easy for people, buy their book, buy the ticket to go to their event, share, tag them so they can see, so that you are, what's the word I'm going to say? Visible.
I was going to say top of mind. So yeah, same.
Top of mind, also great. Because that's one thing I talk about too, is like with visibility, then you also want to be remembered so that people will be like, oh, yes, Kristina. Oh my God, I remember I met her at this event. She was amazing, great energy. She posted a lot on social, shared the event. All of this goes together. It's like a beautiful little like batch of cookies that you bake together.
I'm just going to tell you guys a really fast story that I think you guys will find interesting. When we did the MCM like coaches call, the very first one, I remember like it was like the coaches call where we introduced ourselves to all the new members. And Chris and Lori would like talk about us a little bit before, and I was like literally 9 months pregnant. I was like dead inside, and I can't say enough how sick I was. And Chris was like, "You know how Kristina ended up here? She just downloaded our podcast, posted about it a ton, and it got to the point where we just couldn't ignore her, and it was nonstop. And then she added a lot of value. We noticed she was smart, and now we're friends. And she even came to our lake house. I was like." Yes, I guess that is how that happened.
All true.
But that is what he said. But it's just so true that you have no idea. Like, I never could have expected that. I said that on stage at High Vibe Women. Like, even for us, Alli, like, us getting to each other, like, we only got to know each other in the last, like, 5 minutes of the round table. And us being like, oh, we live, like, a few cities away from each other. Like, let's see where this goes. And now we're, like, little besties with bartender Matt, mindset coach Matt.
Yes.
Same guy.
It's wild because we met in, March of 2023. And by September 2023, I had launched my podcast with the social snippet, and you made the announcement to everyone. I was thinking about that today. Isn't that wild?
Crazy.
And that also is just like a great reminder about taking action.
Yeah.
So if you truly want to grow your business, you can't be lazy.
No.
You have to get ready to roll up your sleeves, work hard, and take action.
And if you see something in someone else as well, like telling them that. Mm-hmm. That was something too, because Alli and I met, and I was like, "Why don't you have a podcast?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know, like too much work, like tech." Her and Matt are not the techiest people I've ever met.
Nope.
Alli more than Matt, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Keep it to the bartending.
Yeah, you ask our Wi-Fi password, I'm the one answering that question.
Or B. But I said to Alli, like, and I mean this, even I remember Matt and I were out for dinner and Matt was like, oh, like, tell me about your clients who you think have like the most amount of like star potential. And I was like, oh, Alli for sure. Like, and I really mean that because I think you do so much in terms of service of others, and you really, I think you're paving the path for so many people. And so, but I saw that in you, and I was like, you should have a podcast. I don't care if I produce it. Like, if you do this yourself, I'll teach you how. Like, and you were like, no, but I can do this myself. But I think like if you see that in people, it's like such a great gateway. It doesn't have to even be about your niche. It's like what's possible for them.
Absolutely. And I think even finding those besties, like Kristina and I being the perfect example of that we met in a room that we invested good money and time and energy to be in. But we have built this beautiful friendship and collaboration and referrals and events. All of that.
Yeah.
Is really.
Maybe some more High Five Women X Inspire and Move X or / Women Inspiring Women events to come. We did one brunch.
Underscore?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, where can everyone connect with you?
Yeah, so okay, guys, you guys can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn at Kristina Bartol, spell my name with a K, or at the social snippet at highvibe.women. We have lots of really good stuff going on right now, and I also host the community podcast. We'd love to hear you over there, or see you over there. And yeah, I'm just so excited because I think exactly what we talked about, being of service, visibility, like really moving the needle in your business is so important no matter what stage of business you're in. So this was such a fun little chat. What about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Alli Arruda, all one word. And email would be, oh my God, newsletter.
One Negroni deep. Just one Negroni. I'm actually flushed. I feel it. I'm 85 years. What was it? These Negronis.
Okay, Instagram is at Alli Arruda. And then my website, that's the word I was looking for, is Inspire and Move.
I was like, don't give them your email, dude. Don't give them your fucking email. It's such a bad call to action. Oh my God, I'm dying.
Well, I hope people are loving this founder-led content because it's really behind the scenes.
When you get drunk accidentally on a fucking podcast. Okay, guys, we love you. We want to hear what you're working on in your business. You can find both of us on our podcast, on social, behind a Negroni, or in the Mentor Collective Mastermind, which
that's the best place to find it because you get both of us.
Both of us and a ton of other coaches, a ton of other resources, and we love coaching in there. Plus, you get to know with Chris and Laura. We love them.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great program that we are obsessed with, and the people in there are also so amazing.
Yes, so amazing. So yeah, go check it out. We'll link everything in your show notes, and chat soon.
Bye.
Bye.